We think life is a journey, but the destination that you choose in advance dictates the journey. There's two ways a business fails. The first one and most common one is it just grows too slow. There's just not enough traction. At the end of the day, businesses and podcasts that want to be businesses, they either grow too fast or grow too slow. And so the idea is to try to stay in that sort of sweet spot. The one we're doing this month is the top 5 reasons why only 3% of people achieve their most important goals. Most people are winging it, and I can help you reverse engineer the finish line and then set up the train tracks and then just help you stay on the train tracks and then improve the train tracks as we go.
In today's episode of my podcast story, we have Alan Lazarus, the co-founder and CEO of Next Level University, a global top 100 self-improvement podcast that has captivated audiences in over 175 countries. With more than 1 million listens and 1,700 episodes under his belt, Alan's podcast is renowned for its hard-driven yet no-nonsense approach to achieving both external success and internal fulfillment. Alan's journey is particularly compelling after facing the tragic loss of his father at a young age and surviving a near-fatal car accident himself. He embarked on a transformative quest for personal development that led him to leave an unfulfilling career behind. Today, he leads a global team dedicated to helping others unlock their unique potential. Alan is here to share his inspiring journey on how he built his show from the ground up and the profound impact it has had on listeners around the world. Can you tell us your name and the name of your podcast and what your podcast is about?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Alan Lazarus. I am the CEO and founder of Next Level University podcast. Next Level University is also a company, and the podcast is essentially about your own unique version of success. So we started this podcast 8 years ago, and I had a podcast at the time called Conversations Change Lives. And it was about being a fly on the wall. I grew up wanting to be an engineer. And then when I actually became an engineer, I realized, you know what, maybe this sitting behind a desk designing circuits isn't really for me. So I thought to myself, you know what if I could create a podcast where I could interview an engineer and tell them, hey, what did you think your life was going to be like versus what it actually is like? So that, and a nurse, I had a girlfriend who in my early 20s, mid 20s, she wanted to become a nurse. That was her dream. And then, it ended up a lot different than she had hoped. And so I thought, okay, I'll interview a nurse and I'll say, okay, what did you think it would be like versus what it was actually like? I'll interview an engineer. What did you think it would be like versus what it was actually like? And it was going to be for high school and college students to really make an informed decision about what they want their careers to be. So Conversations Change Lives was the name of the podcast. Kevin, my business partner now, he had a podcast called the Hyper Conscious Podcast. So he was my first guest on Conversations Change Lives. And I was his first guest on the Hyperconscious podcast. It was change the way you think, change the way you act, change the way you live. It was deep conversations about life, love, that kind of thing. And just the meaning, it was very existential, very philosophical. And then we teamed up and we had the worst named podcast of all time, which is the Hyperconscious Podcast meets Conversations Change Lives podcast. And eventually we went all in on the Hyperconscious Podcast. And we did that for many, many years. And then I think around maybe 800, we rebranded to what's now known as Next Level University. And it's a place you go to reach your own unique next level of success. And it's a podcast about health, wealth, and love, the 3 pillars of success. To be healthy, wealthy, and in love, I think is what everyone really aspires to. And it's very, very difficult to be good at all 3. And Kevin and I wanted to lead by example in that journey and help people with that. So we don't do we've arrived and we're going to, this is where we used to be and this is where we are now and this is what made the difference. We're on the journey with our listeners because I'm only 36, he's 35, and we're trying to learn and grow ourselves so that we can reach our own unique next level too. So we're big on striving. We're not really big on arriving. We think life is a journey, but the destination that you choose in advance dictates the journey. So we're just helping people achieve their goals and dreams, man. And it's been really cool.
Cool. How old is the podcast?
How old is it, did you say?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
How old is the podcast?
8 years. So we started the Hyperconscious podcast 8 years ago. Yeah. So 8 years ago, we started the podcast in March of 2017.
Okay. It's going on to 10 years. Wow. It's been a long time.
Yeah. So in 2027, it'll be 10 years. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Please remember me when you guys are celebrating the anniversary.
I will, brother. I will.
Yeah. Are you guys active on YouTube? Do you guys do video with audio or just audio only?
Yeah. So we do video and audio. So we're on YouTube and we do all the audio platforms as well. But we used to optimize for audio and now we're optimizing for video. So now what we do is we have a production team that we use StreamYard Kevin and I, and we record the audio and the video. And then we have video editors on our production team that optimize for the video. Then we strip the audio and then we use that for audio.
Oh, okay. So they edit the video and then you remove the audio and then you publish that.
Yep.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we used to optimize for the audio and now we optimize for the video. Yeah.
When did you guys add audio as part of the strategy for the podcast? How long ago?
You mean video? Because we started.
Actually, okay. So what? I don't know if you hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I say, how long ago did you guys add video as part of the strategy?
So video, we've been on YouTube for probably 7 years, I want to say. 6 or 7 years. Yeah, probably about a year or two in. We had a guest named Evan Carmichael, and he coached us for a time. He's the top 10 guy on YouTube, and we just started doing YouTube after that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Kind of inspired you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, way back, we used to use FaceTime audio, and then we started recording Kevin and I while we were having these conversations on FaceTime audio. And yeah, we learned as we went, and now we do everything optimized for video, yeah. Because video is definitely the future, more so than audio. But I do like audio podcasts. I really do, actually.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people listen in their car. A lot of people like to listen while they're doing other things. And I think that's really important too. Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys started, how was it like? I'd love for you to paint a picture. How was it like? What was the operations like? Did you guys start with a team? How far into the podcast did you include a team to the podcast?
So we got our first team member, I think in 2019, I want to say, maybe 2018. And in the beginning, it was all us. So Kev did all the audio and video editing, and I did the messages to get guests and stuff like that. And we used to do 1 a week, then it was 2 a week, then it was 3 a week, then it was 5 a week, and then we jumped to 7 a week. But we didn't jump to all those episodes until we had a team going. And so the team kind of started with, we have someone on our team named Ron. He was someone that we hired originally to help us with audio and video editing. And then now we have an 18-person team. So it's grown quite a bit based on the need and the profitability of the company and that kind of thing. We actually had a 24-person team at one point, but we had to contract a bit. So for anyone who's not in business, there's 2 ways a business fails. The first one and most common one is it just grows too slow. There's just not enough traction. There's not enough focus. There's not enough products and services. There's not enough customers. There's not enough clients. And that was us in the beginning. And then from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and so that 4-year period, 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, and then 2023 to 2024. So at the beginning of 2024, we had year over year 119% growth year over year in terms of revenue. Then it was 18% and then 11%. So I think it was actually 2019 to 2023. And then 2023 year end was 18%, and then 2024 year end was only 11%. So when you're growing 119% year over year, you expand very quickly. It's like the fish are jumping in the boat, so you're just trying to capture it all. So it's buy it, do it, run it, and then all of a sudden it's only 18% and then 11%. So you have to refocus. I mean, you gotta cut expenses.
Yeah.
You gotta cut team members, that kind of thing, right? The expansion and contraction. So a lot of people who they villainize big companies for doing layoffs and stuff, but ultimately you have to survive in business.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but ultimately we overexpanded. It's called overleveraged. Because when you're growing 119% year over year, why not buy it with a credit card? Because the credit card interest rate is still only 29%, 119%. That still means we're 90% in the green.
Yeah.
But then when it goes down to 18%, now you're in trouble, right? So at the end of the day, businesses and podcasts that want to be businesses, they either grow too fast or grow too slow. And so the idea is to try to stay in that sort of sweet spot.
Yeah. I'm curious, right? And I'd love for you to walk us through, how does the podcast make money?
So our podcast is an indirectly profitable vehicle. Okay. So I can break this down. We have 15 departments, and I'll kind of break them down one by one. The top of the business model, so picture an upside down triangle. You can call it a funnel if you want to. It's not a funnel in the way most people think of a funnel. But anyways, the top of the funnel is breadth and the bottom is depth. So the deeper you go, the less people. Okay, so right now we work with 104 podcasters and business owners. All right, so the top of the business model is social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I think Kev is using TikTok. That's exposure. The next layer in is the podcast. So on social media, we have our own content and people who are interested in what we're interested in. So for me, it's fitness, personal development, and business. So if you're interested in fitness, personal development, and business, and you follow me on Instagram, you might check out the podcast. And the podcast is about success and personal development. So social media, podcast, and then we have other layers. So we have something called a monthly meetup. Every month we do a free virtual event where people come, and the one that we're doing this month is, let me look it up right now. Okay, the one we're doing this month is the top 5 reasons why only 3% of people achieve their most important goals. Okay. So it's more like a training, right? So we present live virtually. They're not recorded. They're private for our listeners. So you come, you get to know other listeners. It's a next level training for next level people, and it's free every month. Okay, and you can register on Zoom and that whole thing. Okay, so you go from social media to the podcast. From the podcast, you go a little deeper for a little more accountability. So the way I see it is the top of the business model is inspiration and motivation. Then you get to the podcast and there's inspiration, motivation, and education. Then you get deeper into the business model and now it's inspiration, motivation, education, and accountability. So Kevin's a podcast coach and I'm a business coach. So I just got off with my client, Cole. Cole and I are 3 times a week, every week for a full hour, just dialing in it's dreams, goals, priorities, metrics, habits, skills, and identity. And we track metrics and habits. So everyone on my team, including all my clients, we all track. It's basically like, listen, not everyone achieves their dreams. Here's why. Most people are winging it, and I can help you reverse engineer the finish line and then set up the train tracks and then just help you stay on the train tracks and then improve the train tracks as we go. So a podcast can help someone, a book can help someone, a book club can help someone, a monthly meetup can help someone, but it can't help someone nearly as much as the one-on-one coaching piece. So how does the podcast make money? The podcast makes money because everyone has what I call 2 trains running simultaneously if they want to be successful. So the first train is called short-term profitability. So my short-term profitability is business coaching. That's what makes money, and that's what keeps the lights on.
Hey, just a quick break. If you're enjoying the insights so far and want even more behind-the-scenes ideas, inspiration, and tools for growing your own podcast, join my email list at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. You get access to helpful resources, exclusive updates, and the kind of stuff I only share with my email subscribers. Whether you're starting out or already podcasting, there's something valuable waiting for you. Head over to mypodcaststory.com/join and subscribe. Now, back to the episode.
Okay, so my clients and everybody tracks metrics and habits. And so essentially, it's inspiration, motivation, education. The higher on the business model someone is, the more it's inspiring and motivating, but not necessarily as educating or as accountable. So the top is social media, then it's the podcast, then it's monthly meetups and a book club, and we have some all free, and then we have some paid. I use Google as an example. A lot of people that are consumers have never paid for anything Google. YouTube is free unless you want. And so Next Level University is the same way. Our podcast is free. If you want to go deeper and coach with me, it's paid. And so what I do with my clients is we do dreams. We reverse engineer dreams, goals, priorities, metrics, habits, skills, and then we do because goals, priorities, metrics, habits, and skills.
Yeah.
You realize you're not doing it. And the reason you're not doing it is because of the ideal stuff. And that's deeper sort of stuff from your past. Fear, insecurity stuff. Humility, courage, vulnerability is usually the cure to that. Ultimately, my coaching really sets up the train tracks for someone to really succeed, and then we call it like cranking the flywheel. So stay committed, stay consistent, stay committed, stay consistent, stay committed. It's having a stay on point kind of thing. I have some that are, I stopped up, but I still have some that are grandfathered and grandmothered into that. And then I have bi-weekly, which is once every other week. And then I have some people that are 3 times a week. I have one person that's actually 4 times a week. And essentially, I think of it like a Mario Kart booster. So every time you get on the phone with me, Zoom, they're all virtual, it's on Zoom. Mario Kart booster, where we redesign, tweak, redesign, and then boost. My job is to keep you motivated, inspired, educated, and accountable. And so there's 2 trains that every has.
Yeah.
And podcasters. The first one is what I call the short-term off. So business coaching generates revenue. Business coaching is the short-term profitable train. That's the train that makes money now. Next Level University, the podcast, doesn't make money now. So over here, this is the short-term train. The short-term pays for the long-term to build a brand. Okay? So if you can win in the short-term train, you can pay for the long-term train to keep going and gain momentum. But the long to generate leads. In other words, it also builds credibility. So we have a podcast with over 2,000 episodes, I think 2,052 as of last week. And so that builds, and then other people who are excited about fitness, personal development, and business, they want to coach with me. And Kevin I do business coaching. And then we have a group coaching program we've been running for over 4 years. Group. I actually have group coaching after this, believe it or not, in 30 minutes. So at the end of the day, we are a success company that believe deeply in personal development. People don't pay for personal development. Do pay for podcast coaching or for business coaching. And so that's personal development. So people pay me to help them grow their revenue in their businesses, build a brand, marketing, sales, client delivery, community, how to build an online community, all this stuff. But ultimately, development. I did fitness coaching and mindset coaching and peak performance coaching, and I've been mentoring for 10 years, coaching for 8. And so the podcast makes money indirectly. It doesn't have any ads.
Yeah,
it's ad-free, but we do promote our own products and services. This is a journal that I use every single day. Helps you reverse engineer your goals and dreams, achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. So this is something that, picture our podcast episode, all of a sudden there's an intro where listeners, just so you know, I use the Next Level Dreamliner every day, top 3 gratitudes, top 3 most important tasks. It'll help you stay committed and aligned, and essentially click the link in the show notes. So what a lot of podcasters need to understand is the podcast is more adding value. Number 1, adding value. 2, making money. And it has to be in that order. So if I could break it down one last piece, what I hope my clients do and business owners and podcasters like Ed, impact and profitability. Mastery, impact, and profitability. Mastery, impact, and profitability. Me becoming a more effective coach and communicator. Impact is me helping people align with their goals and monthly meetups and through book club. I've been doing a book club for 4 years. Free, totally free, every Saturday time. And then profitability comes after. Profitability is business coaching or so we produce over 4 other podcasts within our company, including 3 of my own. Started small and with that. And then once we got to that level, and we had to level up and then level up and then level up.
Well, I mean, it has so many moving parts in the business, but it wasn't always like this when you guys started.
Oh, correct. Yeah. This is, in the beginning, I remember in the beginning, we were getting 4 listens per day. And the entire first year, only got 1,006 listens. And now we get more than that in a day. So 52 episodes, an entire year worth of work. And we got 1,056 listens.
Oh.
Now we get more than that every single day. And that's the power of the compound effect. That's the power of consistency over time. That's the power of staying committed and staying focused. Because ultimately at the beginning, everyone has to start from a very base, the beginning. And my life is still challenging, but it's different. Right? In the beginning, it was how are we going to pay our bills? Now it's, how are we going to reach $1 million per year? And have. But struggling. I mean, successful 2 or 3 years into a business. And if they are, they have investment dollars or they're lying through their teeth online.
Yeah. Well, you talked about the MIP, which is mastery, impact, and profitability. But I just want you to drill a little bit deeper into, you've been doing this podcast for 10 years now. And at the point when you started, you didn't have it figured out. So I want to know, other than the fact that, okay, the business is making you money, and it's paying your bills, what are some personal impact you see that because I did the podcast, these are the things that it has helped me, both personal development and otherwise, not just the money aspect?
Yeah. So the most magnificent things that happened to me is I met Emilia Smith. I built the Conscious Couples podcast. So Next Level University is about success and personal development. The Conscious Couples podcast is about love. It's about how to flourish in your intimate relationship. So her and I have been coaching couples for 4.5 years coming on now. We coach married couples. We coach, some of them are married. Some of them have actually gotten divorced and they, came back together, that kind of thing. But ultimately, it's a podcast about helping you flourish in your intimate relationship. My point, to answer your question, this podcast was a vehicle to help facilitate. Kevin and I, my business partner, we would we interviewed hundreds of people, Olympic athletes, business owners, multimillionaires. I just learned so much. What you're doing now, just absorb. And work. And like the Next Level University was the train of growth that helped me become the man who could into my. I know for a fact that had I not grown through a lot of pain and failure, and she's 6 years younger than me, but she's far. I am her age. So I always be 6. If I was the 30-year-old version of me, she would never want to be with, because she's far more more intelligent than I was, and I think to mature, slower because of our egos. But ultimately, the podcast for me was a become the man that I'm proud to be. That can. She's just the most magnificent thing that's ever happened to me. So that's one example, other than money, because there's certain things on this journey that you expect. I wasn't super concerned that we. I feel like success for me, and again, I know this isn't how everyone feels. Kevin doesn't feel that way. Externally for me has always, and I feel like I can reverse engineer finish lines pretty well. I feel pretty disciplined. I feel like I can stay consistent. Like that kind of stuff.
Oh.
And it's a podcast that helped me fall in love, because I became the type of man who can be with someone like that. Yeah. So whereas Kevin's the opposite. So Kev would tell you he never thought he'd be successful. He didn't know how to be successful. He didn't have mentors and coaches, and he needed to learn how to be more organized, how to be more conscientious, how to be more disciplined, how to reverse engineer finish lines, how to set goals, how to stay those, what are met skills and all that. So now we both, have kind of both sides of the coin, because we've been there for each other on this journey, sort of the yin and yang. And we both on this journey also fell in love. He got married.
Yeah.
And
I'm curious. Can you go into the specifics of how you met your wife?
Absolutely. So we met. So she was originally friends with my current client. Her name is Bianca. They are now they're podcast co-hosts now. So this is many years ago. So I met her 5 years ago. So Kevin had met Bianca, and they were friends, and they worked in my fitness model shoots and fitness. She was friends with Bianca, and Amelia was someone I met through, because I was friends with Bianca as well. And Bianca suggested to her that she check out our podcast. Our podcast back then was called the Hyperconscious Podcast.
Yeah.
You there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. You talked about how the fitness
where did
coach,
we cut off?
their photo shoots. Yeah.
So back then I was a fitness coach, fitness competitor, and fitness model. And I had done 43, and essentially we were all super into fitness. Kevin was a bodybuilder. And we were friends with a woman named Bianca. I was friends with Bianca as well. She's my client. I've been mentoring and coaching her for like 6 years now. But she was friends. They did Muay Thai, and she recommended my podcast to her because it's contemplative existential stuff. And so she was a listener. And I went on her Instagram, and I went on her Facebook, and I was like interesting. She suggested we contemplate on the podcast the difference between selfishness and selflessness. So balance selfishness and the name of the podcast episode. So Kevin and I did an episode. One episode to date, we joke where I think I understood the listener more than Kev. And we had to re-record it because the first one was garbage. I was like, dude, you don't understand. You don't understand what she's really asking. And this is before. And I saw on her Facebook, it said that she was in a relationship, but it didn't say a guy's name. And I wanted to ask her on a date, but I saw that she was going to be disrespectful. And eventually I sent a DM saying, true or false, are you in a relationship? Several times. I was a coward. I sent it, and then I unsent it. I sent it, and then I unsent it. And then I sent it. It's a matter of a month, probably 2 or 3 weeks. And then eventually I was like, you know what? So I said, true or false, are you in a relationship? Question. She said, yes, in a relationship with myself. That, we audioed back and forth constantly. We went on our first date, second date. I mean, we've been wildly heavy in love ever since. And to hear people say, she's my everything. And I remember thinking, I don't know if you have everything, but she is. She's my business partner. She's my podcast host. She's my intimate partner. She's my gym partner. We go to the gym every day together. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, brother.
Well,
and ultimately,
the list of stories, we're going to add yours to those that, wow, this is really a magnificent story. So podcasting helps you, kind of like to meet your wife. That's an incredible story. Wow.
Well, listen in that. And I think that this is what I believe to be true. I believe that my desire to serve and my purpose, I have it written over here, to reach my and help others do the same, everything else is secondary. My dad died in a car when he was 28 when I was 2. 6, and I got in a car, was sort of my mortal, and I in growth, and I found my purpose. That's when some people have a career, some people have a calling. For me, I had a job and a career. That's when I started this whole personal growth journey. My purpose and my passion, falling in love. That if you are here to serve yourself, you really own that, and with your high self, and you will this. I think you will find someone the yin to your yang.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Is your wife open for podcast guesting? I'd love to hear a story too. Okay. Yeah. I'd love if you if you can put in a word for me so that
I can send you. Happy to come on together too. We'd be happy.
Okay.
To come on together.
Yeah. Please. Okay. Wow. That's the I think this is a part of the story we never really got to explore when you came on the other my other podcast. Yeah. When you just looking back, it's going to 10 years now, 8 years now, right? Looking back, when you started the podcast, when you started the brand, I know you had to rebrand from Conversations Change Lives down to the names and the kind of silly name that you guys came up with, and then later on to now Next Level University, to where people that do the next level you, pun intended. How would you say, what were the expectations you had when you started the podcast, and now how is the podcast doing compared to the expectations you had 8 years ago?
Yeah. You start, you even know it. You have to learn distinctions. You have to So we have this framework of failure, and we failure are the wrong expectations, the wrong approach. So the wrong is thinking you're going to go viral. Wrong approach is not being consistent, not being disciplined, not being improvement oriented. And then time perspective is thinking it's going to happen in 1 year instead of 10. Expectations. This side, I expected us to be more successful. I think the company has been a lot harder than I originally thought. And here's thought people more really are. Personally, something that's easy to. It's a big mirror, and I always use the example of Netflix. So Netflix, when you watch Netflix, you're simulating an experience having feedback on you. But when you go to the gym, you have to look in the mirror and feedback. You have to look at all your inadequacies and you have to figure out that strong. A lot of when you read a personal development book, playfully joke. I used to say, I know how valuable a book is by how bad it makes me feel about myself. But the reason I say that is I have a book behind me called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And when I first read that book, it's a giant, it's laws of invaluable growth. Single one of the laws might as well be, hey, Alan, you're not reaching your potential. Hey, Alan, you're not maximizing your potential. Hey, yeah. Turns out you're not maximizing the table. And that sucks. That's not as fun as watching. So in the beginning, I thought development would be accepted, that Kevin and I would have an easier time attracting and sustaining enthusiasm with people, that people cared more about their growth and their goals and their dream. And I thought it would be. Now, I definitely think it would happen overnight, and I definitely thought it would be more well accepted. And I thought it would do better than it's doing. It took a long time for us, like 6 years, I think, to reach 1 million listens. And success, so I'm very grateful. But it took a lot longer and was a lot. However, I do feel like it doesn't get easier. I think the biggest lie is success makes life easier. I think success actually makes life responsibility, right? My life isn't easier than it's in team, and people think, oh, well, that makes your life easier. Not really. From a leadership perspective, from a payroll, much harder. However, easier and other harder. So I think suffering is a part of the journey, and I think that I expect people are more reluctant to work on themselves. That was the main lead that was off.
Okay. On the final notes, one last question. What if you're a business coach, but if you wanted to give advice to someone who started a podcast as a business, so that I want you to actually give an advice from your perspective as a business coach, right? What advice would you give to that person who's just starting out, still doubting if things will work, don't even know what they're doing? What would you tell them?
Yeah, start with these 3 little things. So start with a little tiny funnel. Social media, pick your favorite platform. Instagram or LinkedIn, probably Instagram or Facebook, and then listen to your show. And then on the show, offer something that's of value, a low price, and then improve each of those layers over and over and over again. And once you have momentum on those 3, you have momentum. So until you can post on social with valuable and invite people consistently to listen to your getting better, you can actually invite people to. Don't try to overdo. Don't chase shiny object syndrome is the number one reason people fail. Idea that's going to do it. I remember when Clubhouse first got big. Kevin and I had already been cranking our Collins that I always have on my person because it's really valuable. We already had momentum, and we used Facebook, and we knew our show, and we had an in-person Clubhouse was just a friend. Mom was on horse. We don't need to jump on these waves. We don't need to trend hop. We have our fundamentals. Stick to the fundamentals. This is a fad. Clubhouse is a fad. And if it's not, then we'll jump on objects at the expense of our fundamentals. So for anyone out there who's last, you've got to find your fundamentals. Here's the 3 tunnels. You have to succeed on social. You have to learn. You have to learn valuable content that's compelling on social media. Don't lie. Make posts that are of no value. Okay? Don't fake, but compelling, valuable content on social media that's in alignment with who you're trying to help. Number 2, you have to be consistently creating quality podcast episodes. Consistent quality content. Consistent quality podcasts. Once you have those 2 dialed in, then you create something of value for a low price point Do not try to sell something for $5,000. You're not Apple. Okay, if you were Apple, you could do that. You're not Apple. No one knows who you are yet. So sell something for a low price point that's of value to your target demographics, and then we'll get going because I got to jump. So this something called the marketing sales customer delivery. And for those of you on video, I'm holding up my 5 fingers. You have to master these 5 things in business: marketing, sales, client/customer community. Those are the 5 things that have to be mastered to build an online business with branding. Brand people say and think about you when you're not there. Think about high school. Think about the biggest jock in your high school. Kevin and I went to the same high school, so we both would think of the same person. Okay, so your brand is your reputation. Apple has a different reputation than Nike, has a different reputation than Tesla. Tesla should not sell energy drinks, and Red Bull should not sell cars. Okay, your thing. You have to become known for something. Okay, for us, Next Level University is about success and personal development. Work on yourself to reach success. Next level you, pun intended. See how it's very specific? Marketing is the message. You will reach the next level if you listen to our podcast. That's the message. I'm all leading by example in my own journal, and I listen to our podcast. I'm trying to chase my own. Was Kevin. So it's the message, the podcast we use, audio, YouTube, we use Instagram, Facebook, like the channels, marketing. So it's the message and it's the channels. That's marketing. Okay, so is building meaningful who you most suited to help is their own success. It's people who have low self-worth, high humility, and they struggle with courage, clarity, and they want more success. They're sick and tired of wandering around. They want clarity. They want purpose, meaning. All right, so branding, marketing, sales. That's sales. That's one-on-one conversations with real people, DMs. That's email. That's getting on Zoom. We used to the time. Kevin and I would just jump on for free, just meet our listeners. Hey, how are you? Who are you? Can we through? What are you struggling with? I asked you right before. Who are your listeners? What are they struggling with? What do they want to achieve? All of our struggles are now in what we want to achieve. Struggle is a byproduct of needs and goals unmet. Insecurities and struggles of your listener. What do they need help with? What skills do you have that can solve branding, marketing, sales? Next is client or customer delivery. This means you have to have something of value to sell. Group coaching, one-on-one coaching. The line, you have to have something of value to sell. Exchange for money. You cannot have a level 10 relationship. Not have a level 10 to service or product. Okay? So one of the coaches that I coach, she's $47 an hour. That is affordable. She has several clients. That's five. They're going to do it. Most people don't that, right? So start small and build. All right. Next is, now this is where we have a private Facebook group called Next Level Nation. For Next Level One, it's a place where personal development is actually cool. It's a private Facebook group. No bullies allowed. No one can be disrespectful. We kick out disrespectful. No toxicity, and there's no being disrespectful. There's no one toxic, no one entitled, and no one disrespectful. And if you want to be into people because you're lonely on this growth journey, Next Level Nation is a private Facebook group. Has, I think, 800 people in it. All of our, so that's community. So branding, marketing, sales, client delivery, and exceed big.
Thank you so much for sharing
but
that.
It has to be
it seems
over
as
the
if
long term.
You waited to the end to share the most value. Where can listeners learn more about you and what you do and check out your projects and all that?
Thank you so much. So thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. I know we've been lagging a little bit with the internet, and thank you for powering through that. I appreciate it. I do got to jump in a minute. Where you can find me, the Next Level University podcast. We are on all the audio platforms. Next Level University, spelled just like it sounds. We're on YouTube as well. The show notes will have my contact information, my email, my Instagram. The best place to find me is the Next Level University podcast. We do have a website called nextleveluniverse.com, spelled just like it sounds. Next Level University is the podcast. Next Level Universe is the website. Nextleveluniverse.com. And you can also find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Instagram is the best place. I really encourage you, if you're out there watching or listening and you're intrigued by what I do, reach out. Just say hey on Instagram at ALAZAROS88 at, just Lazarus88 on Instagram. And if you type in Alan Lazarus, ALAN space LAZAROS, I will come up on Instagram.
Yeah. Thank you. That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.